Last week we discussed what Emunah is not. What Emunah is not. I'm going to recap what we discussed last week, and then I'll give a little bit of a expectation of what we'll discuss this week. And like this, we should have some kind of safe mice and achshava tefillah in the sense of knowing what we want to get out of today and knowing where we're holding for next week. So what did we discuss last week? We brought down two different descriptions of Emunah that's commonly used. One of them is blind faith. The example we gave was a person in a pit. The famous example of the pit where the Yidlach in the pit believe their father for what their father told them. Tati said there's an outside world, so there must be an outside world. The other Chevra say, no, Tati's getting old and he doesn't really know what's going on, so he's making up an outside world. So you have the Ma'aminim and the Kafrim from the pit. This is not from the hand.
Blind faith is Emunah?
Blind faith is not Emunah. Blind faith is what in English some people, specifically non-Jews, Christians, use for Emunah, but that's not Yiddish Emunah. We don't say Anachnu Ma'aminim b'nei Ma'aminim as in we're proud blind people. That's not what we imply with Anachnu Ma'aminim b'nei Ma'aminim. There's some other type of Emunah that we will discuss today that is the proper type of Emunah, but it's not blind faith. Blind faith means I have no feeling, I have no proof, I have no nothing. I'm just blindly following someone who tells me what to do. In English, it's called someone who's abusive. In English, it's called maybe a manipulator. In English, it's called a dictator. And you can find many words where blind faith can play out. That's not Eibishter. Eibishter is not a dictator. The Eibishter is not a manipulator. The Eibishter is not there to have us do things simply because he wants to tell us what to do. And he wants us just to get it done. That's not what Emunah is. That's not Emunah. Emunah is something else. Obviously, Emunah is something else. That's the first description of faith, the way the world types it, and that's not what Emunah is. A second description that we discussed last week is the description we find when we say, have faith in a doctor. What do we imply when we say the word have faith in a doctor? Really, what we imply is, I know I made research and I found out he's an expert, so therefore I trust him. So when we say the word I trust the doctor, really I'm saying I know he's good. But I'm a little bit nervous that he might make a 1% mistake with me, so therefore I use the word faith. But that's how we run life. It's called knowledge. Many times we have to make a decision. So there's a risk factor. So we take a risk factor and we say have faith. But it's not have faith, it's I know. How knowledge works. Well, my knowledge is some things I know, some things I know enough to know that I don't know everything, so therefore I'm going to rely on one person. But I'm doing it because I know. I don't open up the yellow pages and say, who's going to be the doctor? Who's going to be my doctor? Who's going to cut me up? I don't do that. I make research, I understand, I find out, I make my mind and my heart to somehow feel comfortable with the decision I'm going to make. So that's Yediyah. That's not faith. Emunah means something else. So what's Emunah? That's what we're holding. So what's Emunah? What does it mean when we say Anachnu Ma'aminim b'nei Ma'aminim? And it's actually something we're born with. The name Ma'aminim. But then we found a Maimah that also brings out that the play of Emunah is Emunah Yediyah Emunah. Somehow, knowledge is a stepping stone to a deeper Emunah. This has to be understood. Knowledge means to say, I know something, I know. I like coffee. I don't have to believe that coffee tastes good. I like it. It tastes good. So the idea is going to bring me to Emunah. If I like it, then suddenly I'm going to believe in it. I don't like it. Finished. It's good. I like it. It makes sense. Done. Why does that lead to Emunah? Emunah is a whole different ballgame. And it seems that ties them in together. We don't understand how that works out, and we have to see how that works out. But what we ended off last week is with a need to understand what Emunah is. What is Emunah? And again, there is something that we're born with, and somehow there's something we can do to help that which we're born with become more. That's what we learned. We have to understand how that plays out. What does that mean? That's what we're holding. Okay. Today we'll discuss what Emunah is. We're going to hopefully come out with a understanding that differentiates Emunah of a Yid from faith of a Goy. We're going to hopefully leave with a sense of a major difference that exists, major difference that exists between a Yid and any other creature. But at the same time, we will still have a question in the end that won't allow this to be 100% satisfactory. So we're going to have something that we will get, but at the same time, we're going to feel like there's something missing. So let's play this out. I'll start with the idea of Mesiras Nefesh, because it's in the parsha Lkut. We just came from the parsha of Avraham. I'll start with that to open up the discussion. Many people ask the question, and I'm sure this crosses all of your mind. Avraham Avinu jumped into the fire. It's a major moment of Mesiras Nefesh. What's happening? Why doesn't the Torah mention it? The Torah is the Rebbe mentioned it. Why? What does the Torah mention in Mesiras Nefesh? The story of that cave. For 1 second, why not Ur Chazan? Ur Chazan was a major moment of Mesiras Nefesh. Isn't Mesiras Nefesh a Jewish thing? So Avraham Avinu jumping in Ur Chazan was like the ultimate Yid. Not a mention. The Torah that's teaching us about Avraham Avinu, the father of the Yidden, doesn't mention anything about jumping in the fire. Why? Sirenas here and there. Why? This is a deep understanding on the difference between Avraham Avinu of Mesiras Nefesh, and it wasn't the Yiddish Mesiras Nefesh jumping in the fire. It has nothing to do with it. That's not a Jewish thing. And it's going to help us see the difference between a Yid and a Goy. That was Avraham before Lech Lecha. He wasn't yet Avraham Avinu. But why? How do we understand? An idea is like this. In Gashmias today, we find many individuals, non-Jews, that commit themselves to high ideals, to values. They commit their life towards something they decided is important. And they're willing to sacrifice everything for that goal. Let's name a few. Someone could be a workaholic. Someone could decide that if working ethics is so important, that at the age of 93, they're still going to work every day. I know a lawyer, he owns a firm, but he's going to work every day at the age of 93. Why? Because maybe on his matzeva, it's going to say, "Here lies Jack, I died in my armchair." So he was work ethics. He won't go to his kid's birthday, he won't go to his grandkid's birthday, because him work ethics is very important. He has to show up every day at work. Another person can have a hobby to go skiing, and there's a very big risk. Person can die, mountain climbing. Person can jump from planes. There are many things we can do. We decide to engage in behaviors that have a risk factor of dying. There are children or young people that go to Africa to cure people. A doctor can decide to commit his life towards curing people. And they're going to go to Africa and go to a place where there's diseases and they can die. A soldier can commit his life towards being patriotic to his country. The Arabs have honor killings within their family. And that's where the suicide comes from. It's honor killings. It continues like the Japanese. It's the same kind of idea. Which is all decisions that people make where they so strongly feel for something that it's worth it for them to do everything for that. Napoleon said it's worth it to have a short life, but an adventurous one, than a long life without adventure. That's what Napoleon said. That's why he died young in battle. Because for him, it was important, his life, he decided his life was important to have an adventurous life. The story that he was told it's going to go, it's not going to succeed. I think it was enough blessed us that told him it's not going to go. And then he went, because he said for him, everybody decides what they feel is important, and we sacrifice whatever we want towards those goals. But that's not Messiah's message. What's Messiah's message? And Avraham Avinu did exactly the same thing. Avraham Avinu was a person. He was the ultimate human. He did three things. He was Isha Chesed, a kind person. He did what the UN does today. He was the first UN in the world. He was kindness, ultimate kindness. Anybody called Machnaseira. The hungry, the refugees, he took care of everyone. Gave them a plate of food, gave them a cholent, gave them a soup, gave them a place to sleep. He was the ultimate Isha Chesed. That's number one. Number two, he spread awareness of the Eibishter. Very, very massive, big campaign that he championed, which is spreading the awareness to the extent that he debated the biggest people in town. He debated the king. He debated everyone. Because he, as a human, came to a certain decision, to a certain understanding, and he was very passionate about his commitment to his understanding. So he did whatever he can in his power to further his goals. Chesed, Eibishter. And the third thing he did is he actually committed his life towards that. He jumped into Ur Kazdim when he came to the moments in front of Nimrod, in front of the whole Chavrai over there, and they said, really, are you ready? He says, yes, I'm ready. He committed his life to a big goal. That's a great thing. All humans do that. He's the ultimate human in the moment of Ur Kazdim. What makes that unique? Everybody does that. Goyim do that too. He was the ultimate human. What's a Yiddish in the city? If you really want, let's play this out. Imagine Avraham didn't jump into Ur Kazdim. He'd be a loser. How would you face everybody? You came along and you told me there's an Eibush there. In the moment of truth, you back down. You're a loser. So he kind of put himself in a pickle. I mean, he couldn't back out. What was he going to do? Just not a shit at. So it's a normal thing. People put themselves in pickles. People further their goals, and people go and commit themselves towards their goals. Comes along the story of that Kedar, and there's a whole different story playing out. What's the story of that Kedar? Avraham goes up a mountain. Alone. There's no television stations. It's not in front of Nimrod. It's not in front of the whole world. It's not after a debate. He's going up alone. No one knows. And no one anticipates that the this Eibishter that Avraham was talking about would tell him such a sea-boy as the one that he got on top of that mountain. No one would anticipate or believe him that that's what happened. He goes up the mountain, and he takes who? His child. His legacy. Against his whole goal that he had committed his life for. He could have... Where does it come from to go against your life stated goal? Your life stated goal is the awareness of the Eibishter. Your child is the one you said is the one that's going to further it and strengthen it and keep a continuity to your life mission. Where does this come from? That you're allowing yourself to simply go against your whole stated mission. Here there's a whole different type. Here we use a different voice. There's a different understanding to this. You know what this is like? A good example would be like you take a child in nursery. You put them in front of different science, drama, you put them in front of math, numbers, to see where they gravitate towards. What's their nature? Not decisions. What's their nature? Who is this child? You want to figure out, there are different kinds of kids. There's a creative kid. There's a technical kid, that's very into numbers. It's a nefesh. It's not just an engagement, a project. It's a nefesh. It's a nefesh of creativity. There's a different kind of nefesh. Creativity is something that you think out of the box. Creativity is you're always recreating things. And math, for example, is very numbered. It's very grounded. It's stick to the numbers, stick to the don't anything else. This is 1 plus 1. Don't think, what if I have this and I have no. It's 1 plus 1 is 2. There's nothing to talk about. This is how it works. Creativity, you recreate. You're following. A math kid and a creative kid don't really get each other. Another example can be an artist. I gave this example once. So an artist, if you look at an artist, take a painting, and you go to the artist and say, wow, beautiful painting. If an artist tells the artist it's a beautiful painting, he has to talk about it. The artist. You have to, there's a message. You have to connect to another person to get him. Sometimes we say the language, you got to be in the family to get this. It's an inside joke. There's some inside jokes that work and they don't work out. Avraham Avinu in Orkhavim. That was a moment of a decision. That's just like everybody else in the world today. That makes decisions even if they entail sacrifice. When the Eibishter transformed Avraham into a Yid, he turned it from a decision to a nature. A nature. And I'm going to explain this. This is what I'm going to explain today. The teva of a Yid became different. What's the difference between a nature and a behavior? Let me play it out. So there are 3 ways how we operate. There are 3 ways how we engage. Sometimes I say I feel like doing something. Sometimes I say I understand why I'm doing something. And then there's something else. Now let me play out all 3. Let's say I do something. I decided I want to exercise, but I don't enjoy it. So I'm doing it with my hands and my feet, but I don't enjoy it. So it's not really. I don't pride myself with it. I have a hard time. I have to push myself to do it. So it's not really me. It's a behavior pattern. And there are times we enjoy something. Usually we tend to say if someone enjoys something, that's who they are. Someone enjoys music, it's never so music. Someone enjoys it, it's enjoyable. But that's not really true. There's an expression in Hebrew, tov v'tov shaya. It was enjoyable, but it's good that it happened. I go to Amishtan. I enjoyed it. It was a good vacation. Does that mean I have to live there? I don't belong there. I don't identify myself with that enjoyment. I can enjoy many things in life. Certain enjoyments are mine. They're me. They're simply an expression of me. And certain enjoyments, I put myself in a place and I enjoy it. I can put myself in many places and enjoy them. Some places I belong. Some places I enjoy. I can enjoy things that I don't belong to. Some people come to Kriyat and feel like it's Amish town. They like it and they leave, right? Some people go to Amish town and they feel like it's whatever you decide to go to, it works. You can enjoy many things in life. But do you belong? It's a different question. Belonging is deeper than doing or enjoying. Why is it deeper? It plays out in many ways. Some confused people can belong in places, but it plays out in many ways. Belonging is the deepest expression is where do I belong? Let me play this out with a creative kid. So you see this in another scenario. You have 2 kids. Imagine you have a classroom. You have a math teacher. And the math teacher is teaching a bunch of children. This is what the idea is. And you have creative kids, and you have kids that are mathematical. They're numbers. They're wired with numbers. The creative kid cholim. He's thinking. The other kids say, snap in. What's cholim to? What's cholim to? Why you? And the teacher, why are you daydreaming? And the teacher, out of his best interest, what's good for the child, explains to the child, you should know, this idea of daydreaming is detrimental to you. It's very, very not good. You have to really be grounded. Matthew, I have to teach you. You're going to get a taste of it. It's going to be perfect. It's so enjoyable. He's talking about how he feels in his nefesh. And he's thinking that his world is everybody else's world, and therefore he's telling the creative kid, you should be like me, and telling him why his chalamin is not good because he doesn't chalam. But maybe that kid is different than you. And maybe that kid is actually good for him to chalam. And maybe that kid actually doesn't belong in your class. Maybe you should put the Yidden in a world of a math. Maybe you should put the Yidden who are simply wired differently. Emunah is not a decision we make. And we'll see how that plays out. Emunah means he simply created us with creative outbursts. The creative outbursts that we have, everybody around us thinks we're crazy. But we have a different message. We're just made differently. We crave other things than everyone around us. So instead of trying to make us something we're not, allow us to be who we are. Just let me be who I am. The creative kid turns around to the math teacher and says, thank you for your good intentions. I don't belong here. This is simply not my place. What am I highlighting here? Till now, we were discussing decisions people make. Novel, great decisions. And I can dedicate my life to great decisions. Avraham dedicated his life and he jumped himself in the fire. The doctor goes to Africa to cure a guy who's sick, and he becomes sick. It was a great decision. There's nothing like being born with something. I don't have to make a decision. I'm naturally gravitating there. Take two kids. I like the example of the artist because this highlights what it is. Imagine I go to an artist and say, so tell me, how did you become an artist? I have no push in art. So, how do I do that? He's going to turn on and he says, well, guess what? You can't. You're not born with the chush. Knock your head into the wall. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You can... What? Everybody can have art? Yeah? Okay. Let me put it this way. When you have something naturally, can you compare Chochmah, everybody can have. Creativity also can, right? I don't know. The way an art is a because the certain chush you're born with. Chochmah is something you can perhaps still acquire, attain. But maybe I'm wrong. But the Lkut that I'm bringing out is that mishpacha. Let's say mishpacha, in certain to get an inside joke, if you wish, or to sometimes when you know someone very well, I know what they're going to say before they say it. While other people don't even know what they're saying even after they say it. So when you know someone well, you connect to them on the level of, I get it. And that doesn't happen, that's the idea perhaps, but I'm talking mishpacha, I'm talking nature. I'm talking about, take a child, where do they gravitate towards? It's not a decision they made. Right? They're naturally gravitating there because that's how they are. Another example that's brought down is an example of a shliach versus a poyel. A representative of a country versus an employee. So when you're an employee in a company, you can go to any restaurant you want to eat. You don't have to think twice. After hours, you're not representing anybody in the sense of that if you go to that restaurant, it means that you endorse that restaurant as far as a representative of the country. But if you're a consul of Israel, or you're representing Apple, or you're representing a country, whatever you're going to do, you're carrying Apple with you. So you became an entity. You're no longer an individual. You became an entity. The difference between family and a stranger, The difference between making a decision or naturally gravitating somewhere is in the same line. This is not a decision that I have to make. This is where I naturally gravitate towards. I'm different. I change. Another example you can give, maybe to highlight in another way, is Re'iyah Shniya. Imagine there's like this, what is it called? Leaning tower in Italy. They have right? It's called the leaning tower, right? So imagine someone comes back and sees it, and someone says, comes back and says, I saw a leaning tower. Professor of a guy who's very big name in construction comes along and says, what did you say? I saw a leaning tower. He explains, leaning. It's absolutely camping. And he explains to everybody around that this guy has to be hospitalized because of the archaeology, the construction, architect, it's not going to work. Now, what's going to be the difference in the reaction of the person who saw it versus the person around him? People around him are going to be confused. What should we do? Who should we believe over here? Maven? Probably the Maven is right. Okay, who should I choose? There's the Maven. But the person who saw it, is it a fact because I understand it? Is it a fact because I feel it? Is it a fact because it's a fact because it's a fact. Not always does a fact have to be established because I made the research. Or because I pushed myself to do it even if I don't feel like doing it. A fact can be established on a whole different level. Because it's there. It's a fact. The ain doime, the Lishniya means to say, it's there, done. In marketing, they say an image is worth more than 1,000 words. They don't say it's equivalent to 1,000 words. They say it's more than 1,000 words. Why is it more than 1,000 words? It's actually more than 1,000,000 words. It's not in the same level as words. Why? An image is real. Words, I have to transfer that into an image. I have to constantly say, so what does that word mean? Happy. That is a smiley face. So when I see it, I see it. It's there. It's done. It's there. It penetrates maybe you can use these words. The image penetrates into the subconsciousness of a person. Words is the consciousness. We operate on two levels, on a consciousness and the subconsciousness. The Emunah, we talked about the way the world describes them as either I believe in blind faith or I believe because I know. That's a conscious decision we make. There's something deeper. The subconsciousness of a person. It's a reality that I am not necessarily in touch with in my conscious mode, but it's a reality. And that's real. We have to somehow see in the consciousness symptoms that I have a subconsciousness. But that's why I give the example of the creative kid. He's in that classroom. He has a subconscious different reality than the other kids. The other kids are all, on a conscious level, they're all playing with numbers on a paper. And they all seem like they're all the same height and the same weight. And they're doing the same things. And they're sitting, but they're in two different worlds. The word different world. What does it mean different worlds? Different world means they're connected to different ways how they feel and how they establish things. This guy connects in one way. And this guy connects, and there's no strap together. Go talk to, he doesn't get me. He doesn't get me. Avraham Avinu. What happened by Avraham Avinu? Avraham Avinu was a beautiful, great human. The moment of Lech Lecha was a moment that Hashem changed him. The words of Chassidus. Hashem changed him from a human, and he transformed him into Mishpacha. He made a Mishpacha. Avraham Avinu thought he knows the Eibishter. He got proof. He won debate. He was pretty good at it. You know what he's like? He's like the famous example of a drummer who gives his wife a drum set for her birthday. And because he's a drummer, so he figured this was the best thing. Avraham Avinu was saying, what's the Eibishter? Spread kindness, spread goodness. That's what the Eibishter wants. That's what all the Goyim say today. Where is the Eibishter found? Kindness, peace, love. That's like the drummer saying that his wife wants a drum. Where do you know what the Eibishter wants? Who
told you. Where did you meet him? Where did you meet him? The drum set? That's where you met him. Love, peace, and kindness is what humans want. It's what humans could want. Just like the horse we talked about that likes hay and doesn't understand why humans fight. Humans fight because they also want hay. You can't understand differently as a human. The moment of Lech Lecha Hashem said, you know what I want? He spoke to, I want Milah. Bloody Milah is what he wants. Avraham never imagined, after going in the street, what does David show up? No one's going to tell you Milah. 90% of the Jews do Milah. Today, they gravitate towards it. For some odd reason. 90% of Jews gravitate towards Milah for no reason at all. And why? Because Hashem wants. But they don't go to shul. But they gravitate towards Milah. They're odd. They're like the creative outbursts of that creative kid in the classroom. They're very odd. They stand out in a major way. Everybody around them says, yesterday you were telling me you love, peace, and kindness, and today you're doing bris milah. Can you tell me I'm still trying to figure it out myself. No, I'm like everybody else. Don't worry. Tomorrow I'm going to still say love, peace, and kindness. But he has creative outbursts. Because his subconsciousness is really different. It's wired differently. It spills into the consciousness from time to time in all these different odd ways. Mitzvah of Kaddish, by the way, is the area of Kaddish means a connection, disconnection. Is the areas, and we'll talk about that next week, is the areas where it spills into the consciousness. Bris milah is connection. For some reason Hashem likes that. Like a woman likes flowers and the guy likes drums. For some reason he likes it, whatever it is, he likes that. That's what he likes. Avraham only got to know that when he met the Eibishter. And he was seeing, English it says seeing is believing, seeing is not believing, seeing is knowing. Seeing something that makes it a fact. The moment Avraham was changed, a Yid is a changed person. The real Lashon is, a Yid is a boyde, not a Nivra. A Yid is essentially the koyach that we have in our subconsciousness. This is where everything comes from. We are essentially mishpacha. That means to say, these are radical words. A Yid and a Goy are simply like the difference between Doimen, Sameach, Chai, and Medaber. Just like you have a difference between Chai and Medaber. And a Chai is never going to get a Medaber. Between Medaber, there's a Medaber and there's a Yid. A Yid, Medaber is human. So there's humans, and then there's this weird creature called Yid. That's not something we did. It's something that happened to us. Lech Lecha, Lech Lecha says, go away go away from your mindset, from all the things that you thought I liked. Let go, relax. You have no clue what I like. What do you know? You know what I like? You know Terach. Forget about it. You know the best human. So you know to fight with Nimrod. You don't know what I like. You know the Taryag, what's mitzvah? This mitzvah is hugging the Eibishter. I'll let you hug me. I'm going to show you what it means to be mishpacha. And you're suddenly going to have these emotions towards me that I'm injecting into your psyche that you're going to like me. Until now you have no clue who I am to like me. You thought you liked me. You like yourself. You like to be a human. You like to do nice things. That's a beautiful thing. But you didn't like me. They should change him dramatically inside. Probably should change his identity. Now he belongs somewhere else. The word is belonging. The word is not feeling as in understanding. That's nothing compared to belonging. When you change where I belong, my feelings and my everything else change with that. Okay, everybody's thinking, okay, but I don't feel that, and I don't have that on a day-to-day basis, so how do you come to that conclusion? Fine, we'll get to that part. But first let's understand what Emunah is. Why do we say, I'm born that? What do you mean? What are you born with? Yeah, you're born differently. That's what a neshama means. The moment our Eibishter gave him a neshama, is simply saying he took a math kid and made him a creative kid. Although you're calling me that, it's not a good enough. Okay, fine, I accept. I don't know everything. I have a hard time understanding how you can. I guess you can break through. Okay, and fine. But the Lkut, he changed not a behavior, but an identity. I have no other word besides identity. What else can you bring to my identity? Yeah, of course you can become creative. It's an amazing thing. Someone who's not creative can become creative. Sorry. Can you compare the two? Would I get an award? Here's my question. Someone who's not creative, would I be able to get an award, an Emmy award for creativity? Or would I still be in the bottom of that creativity chart? I never ever get, I don't know. That's the question. But I'm saying if this Emmy, I'm saying would Would I be able to? Would I? And that's a shtickle, what? Could be. What should it mean? It's natural. It's natural. It comes natural. That's why I thought it was a proper muscle, because would another artist look at me and say, he's a beginner? I don't know. It's interesting. If that would be an amazing thing in the sense of the power of Ruchnius. That would be an amazing ability for a person to break through such a shell. I'm not
things very differently.
They
see something and they see right away, like
you could take me a million years to think, and then right away he has a chop. He looks at things in a whole different. It's like a different part of the brain. It's like
have a little bit of chop, like material to the just finished. You know what I'm trying to say? You see
the whole picture differently.
It's the other thing that could be.
You can't develop that.
Maybe you can develop it, but
it's never going to be the same.
I think the difference between an artist that has it and an artist that's learned it is in the end product. The end product, it could be an identical picture, but one, the actual product, the neshama, the picture of the artist, you can see. It could be identical, right? Children trace. Right. Two traces, for example. Trace exactly the same. Put it in a photocopy machine.
But it's
the
not
original is an original, and you see the neshama. You see.
And you have to be an artist to appreciate it. I can look at a picture.
The same thing was with Nebuah. They had to learn to cultivate the ability to be a Navi.
So Nevi'us and Chachma is similar to creativity and knowledge. Nevi'us, you see a Navi was called a Shloita sometimes, right? What's Shloita? See, this is so beautiful. In Chassidus, we use the word shtus or ksusha. But shtus means foolishness. Why do we use the word shtus? Shtus is essentially saying there are certain behavior patterns that I do that are simply because of a decision. And that's tam badat. Then there are behavior patterns I don't need. What's a mile in the tam badat mean? I don't need to understand myself that I'm creative. I don't have to go to a book and understand what's creativity and that. Now I understand why I like. Let's say I'm an artist. This is just who I am. You don't like it? Tough luck. This is who I am. It's an expression of who I am. So it's not hinging on my understanding for me to go ahead and express my creativity. Take the child. He didn't think twice and he gravitated towards there. Lamaila means to say it's not hinging on it. Don't worry. That kid loves it. He understands it. He doesn't tell you that he understands it. But he's the tamadas. But that's not. It's the reason, the motive has nothing. It's not hinging on tamadas, and now I'm doing it. That means I could also not do it. No, I am it. Sometimes I decide, and sometimes I just am that. I don't have any other words. This is who I am. Sometimes you say, this is who I am as an excuse, and sometimes you say, this is who I am because it's not who I am. This is where I gravitate towards. I need to create it differently. That's what Emunah means. The Emunah we're created with is the subconsciousness. Just like the Gashmi subconsciousness is not always expressed in the consciousness. And the hardest thing is when you have a creative kid in the math classroom, and the math kids keep on bashing his creativity. That's where the kid gets confused. He's sitting there and he wants to have a creative outburst, and everybody's telling him it's the wrong thing. So in his mind, he's like, so is it good? Is it not good? I want to do it. I thought I'm normal because I want to do it, but everybody's telling me I'm not normal, and the Roy is telling me I'm not normal. So am I normal? Am I not normal? He becomes so confused. He stops himself from doing what he should be doing because of him, because everybody told him not to. So imagine the teacher tells him, I see, Uncle, you're unhappy. I'll tell you why you're unhappy, because you only got a 90 on your test. You should be getting 100. When you'll get 100, you're going to be so happy. Break up. I'm not happy because I shouldn't be in your classroom. Right? Because you're the problem. Because you're telling me what to do. I don't belong here. This is not who I am. You simply don't get me. So it's the same thing. That's where Emunah is. We're brought down into a world. The Eibishter made us differently, but the whole world has a mindset that's contrary to how we're wired. So the confusion is in the consciousness. So when a person engages, imagine a therapist comes into the room and says, creative kid, I have something for you. You have to go out of this classroom. And I'm going to help you out, and I'm going to help you be who you are. Sometimes you go to someone and say, I'm very confused. What's my talent? What's my push? What should I develop? Where do I stand up? No one is everything. Everyone has a Lkut. But the creative kid is kicking and shoving. No, I want to stay here. In the conscious mode, he's so confused that he's kicking and shoving. So you tell him, no, I'm going to schlep you out. I'm going to force you to come out, and then you're going to see you're going to like it in the end. That's what Kabbalah means. Kabbalah doesn't mean I'm forcing you to be something you're not. I'm forcing you to get out of where you're not supposed to be who you really are, because you're going to like it in the end. Right? Massive Inishma doesn't mean a manipulator, someone who just follow me, just get it done. Massive Inishma means to say, you're in the wrong classroom. Come out, and I'll help you be something. Nishma is going to come after the Nasa. Because your enjoyment will come when you're going to be in touch with who you really are.
He's trying to change the person.
He's
changing the person. He's changing the person's nihis. He's changing his nihis.
So the person's nihis was changed by Matan Torah, right? Or by Neshama. We have, I'll play this out another way. Even before Matan Torah, we're very excited for Matan Torah. See this odd? This is something very odd. Even before Matan Torah, we're very excited for Matan Torah. Okay, another few minutes. I'll recap. And suddenly they come to Matan Torah. They're excited. They're counting the days. And they just forces Kafaleim Hakigi. Hello, I'm excited. Why are you forcing me? I'm very excited. I couldn't sleep at night for 50 days, and I'm counting the days. And now you're forcing me. You keep your force for someone else. Well, why are you doing it to me? Comes along, so doesn't explain. The Yidden were excited, and then the Yiddish will force upon them an identity. Their excitement is like a boy excited for themselves. So you're excited. Well, you know what you're excited about. Forcing means to say, I'm changing your identity. The moment of Matan Torah, he took a mask kid and made him a creative kid. They're so confused, because they made an egel a few days later. They were so confused. But he changed their identity. And by the way, all the confusion just becomes after Matan Torah. Till Matan Torah, they're excited. After Matan Torah, they question. So that's how it works. Till Matan Torah, we were a goy. Goyim will love to put on clothes. After goy to put on clothes, they love to put on clothes. They love to do mitzvahs. They love it. They don't know what they're doing, but they love it. A Yid is going to catch and scream at you and yell at you, and then come back and decide and not know, yes, no today, yes, tomorrow. No, I'm not Jewish today, I'm Jewish tomorrow. There's going to be so many. Why? Because that's the confusion between the consciousness and the subconsciousness. The Gashmis, that's how it plays out. So let me show you the flow, show you the paper, show you what we did touch upon and what we didn't touch upon. Like I said, we did touch upon a differentiation, but it's not satisfactory because I live in a conscious mode. And what I would like to know is, how do I have my consciousness merge with my subconsciousness? You should call you if you told me I have a subconsciousness. Knowing that we have a subconsciousness is very powerful. Because the most powerful thing we need to know in life is who we are. If we don't know who we are, then you're climbing at the wrong tree. Knowing who you are is empowering. It tells you the koshus you have. It tells you what trees you're probably hanging onto the wrong trees. And it empowers us that we really have. What's the koyach of a bracha of a yid? Talk about something else. What does it mean that a yid gives a bracha to another person? If a pashut yid gives a bracha to another person, it's in the sky. What does that mean? Because you are a boydei. If you let go and you give the left tahara bracha to another yid, you have the power to cure them. It's not a joke. It's a real thing. We would know the power that we simply have. Nashim Tzidkani, if you're in Israel, wasn't Nashim Tzidkani? Wasn't pure. Their conscious mode was synced with their subconsciousness. They didn't allow the confusion, and they uttered it. It's powerful. A creative kid who doesn't understand that creativity is a real thing, he thinks he has a sickness called, they have come up with all these different kinds of names today. What kind of name? Decomprehension. There's a sickness. I don't know what they're going to call it. Right? They're going to make another name. Creative kid is a sickness. Well, HPD. He's jumping up and down, so he's HPD or whatever, HPC, whatever they're going to call him, right? He's going to have a sickness because he's jumping. Why? Because the guy who made the sickness is the guy who doesn't understand it, so he decided it's a sickness rather than a good thing that could be developed. Everybody has good things that play out in different ways. So we make labels. But if we know who we are, then we suddenly are blessed with the differences, and then you're miyak at it, and you look at it in a whole different way. And that's what Emunah is. Emunah is essentially, it's not something we do. It's something we're born with. What we do is yediyah. What we do is we take away the blockages that we have that don't let us feel who we are. And then we feel that original Emunah in a different way. And we'll get to that next time. But what's important today to highlight is the difference. The difference is an identity. The difference is simply a very strong lesson. Boide and Nidra. We'll see in the Sikha, the Lashon Chassidus uses for Yidden is Boide. We are a Boide. We understand Eibishter. We can hug him. We're Mishpacha. We have a whole different Yachad. We have Taryag mitzvahs. Taryag is Taryag. It's a chibuk, a nish. That's what it is. Goyim have 7 mitzvahs. There's a difference between a doctor and a nurse. The nurse stabilizes the patient. The doctor can change. The doctor can change. He can cure. He can change the world. We're doctors. We're not nurses. The Goyim's job is to stabilize the world, like Avraham Avinu the Shaykar. Peace, kindness, love, whatever you want. Do the UN job. Have the refugees, give them a soup, and give them columns, and they're good. They're done. That's it. Beautiful stuff. He does a whole different thing. A whole different. Okay, we don't feel it immediately, but it's important to differentiate for now. If you can go back to that pit example, you see the difference between the pit, the kids in the pit, and they're saying, Hashem told us, that's not Emunah. Emunah will be like the creative kid saying, I'm different than you. And that kid says, if you're different, you're just nuts. Call me nuts. You want to call me nuts? Call me nuts. You won't get it. You're never going to get what I feel. Maybe you will, whatever. But you don't get it. You're just saying that. I'm not just saying that. Prove it to me. I can't prove it to you. So that means you don't get it. That means you're lying. No, I'm just different. So why do you believe? I don't believe. It's not a decision I made. I gravitate. That's where I'm interested to. Emunah is the teva kol yisrael. Teva is nature. The teva kol yisrael. I mean, it's not a decision I made. I can't run away from it. I can't help myself. It's within. It's so within me. What can I do? Avraham Avinu on top of that mountain, he couldn't resist the Siddur Nefesh. He would say, tell a creative kid not to take the paintbrush. Tell him you're not allowed to touch the paintbrush. You're going to go in the Siddur Nefesh. Wait, it's not the Siddur Nefesh. He can't resist. That's who he is. That's what he does. What are you going to tell him? Not to be who he is. Tell me not to eat. Tell me not to drink. That's what I do. That's who I am. That's the worst thing you can do to me. Tell me not to be who I am. The best thing you can do to me when I'm confused is to bring me closer to who I am. And that's what Eibishter does with all these words, like Nasa, Nishman, Kabbalah, all these words are basically saying, just do it. I'm telling you, you're going to get it. Because you're different. You really belong in a different classroom. Pull yourself out of there. But I don't want to go out of there. You're saying that because you're affected by the napkins. You're saying that because you're affected by your environment. I'm telling you, you are different. I'm telling you, you have different wants and desires within you that you're not getting in touch with. You have a different psyche, a different nefesh. You say the word nefesh, not decision. Nefesh. So let's see inside. I started off, number 1, on the handout, that every human seeks Ruchnius. The Gashmis you see in the world today, people seek Ruchnius. People seek spirituality. But if you ask humans how they seek it, it's going to turn out in 3 ways. Justice, peace, and kindness. The Gashmis, that's how it plays out. And that was Avraham Avinu. By Od like before he got introduced to Hashem's interesting wants and desires. What did he say? Justice, peace, and kindness. So the 3 things that Goyim do, justice, peace, and kindness, awareness of the Eibishter is also part of Goyim. Goyim believe in Eibishter. We talked about the fact that when humans look for purpose, they're essentially saying there's a creator who made a purpose. You don't say a purpose when you bump into someone by mistake. You say purpose when there's a design. So they're essentially saying there's a creator. Which means to say Goyim are, that's fine. Goyim are a medaber. A human is meant to come to the conclusion there's a creator. That's part of how humans were wired. The third thing humans can do is they can commit themselves to a goal ad kedei Mesiras Nefesh. If you look in number 6, you'll see I listed out different ways how that can happen. a hobby, a career, a mission, soldiers. These are all decisions people make that is part of how humans function. Humans function in the sense of, I can make a decision to commit my life to something. And we do it. It's called commitment in English. We find that all the time. What's the Mesiras Nefesh of Avraham? The Mesiras Nefesh of Avraham is, I can't help it. Suddenly, I have a lady in Ukraine, a Pashto lady, who has no knowledge of Yiddishkeit, suddenly commits herself for Yiddishkeit. Where did that come from? What was the decision? Sudden, no knowledge, no nothing. That's like a child gravitating to creativity. In the Moshe. Mesiras Nefesh is natural. Natural gravity.
Four things.
All those four things are goyish. It's the goyish of Mesiras Nefesh, which is a decision. It's a decision. The three dots afterwards, that's Avraham's Mesiras Nefesh. On top of the mountain, he took his son on legacy suicide. That's Mesiras Nefesh. I'm gravitating naturally towards, I can't resist. Avraham Avinu was like, I don't want to. I'm sure he didn't want to. In his mind, he didn't understand it. This is brought down. He didn't understand it. But it says, I'm gravitating. This is just the kind of thing that I do. Six. I jumped to six. Six Mesiras Nefesh, I can't versus I decided. Impulsive versus decision. Which, are you looking at the paper, the second paper that I gave out? There's a handout on the table. Don't look at the handout inside there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go through it. I'm going through it now. So again, let me go through it. I'm going through 1 and 6. On the handout, look at number 1 and number 6. I'm jumping a little bit on the handout. Number 1 is what humans can do. Humans have 3 things they can do. Justice, peace, and kindness, awareness of the Eibishter, and afterwards they have Mesiras Nefesh for whatever they decided. In number 6, I outlined the kinds of Mesiras Nefesh they have. A hobby, skiing, whatever it may be. But a Yiddish Mesiras Nefesh is a gravitation, that's a natural gravitation. And that's, if you go back, that's number 5, natural gravitation versus decision. A child gravitates to a science corner. Or if you go back to number 4, a behavioral change versus identity change. Right? So we gave the example of representative versus an employee. Or science versus math. These are all identity changes. Real Mesiras Nefesh is not a behavioral decision. It's a natural gravitation that we have. That's what differentiates a Yid and a Goy. Avraham before, I put the dot with Avraham before Akeda was a nice human. Until 99, he did global kindness. He spread the Eibishter's 2 and 3. He spread the Eibishter's awareness, and he demonstrated perseverance. He went to ultimate cosm. Very nice. Horses know horses. Humans know humans. He did what humans can do. After the Eibishter spoke to him, Hashem changed him. And he made him Lkut 75. That turned into after, yeah. So after Hashem changed him, now it's a different story. Now we can talk about Avinu, Avraham Avinu, our father. Hashem changed him, turned him into a creative kid. It's a different identity. It's a different person. And that's the difference between 7 mitzvahs and 613. 7 means to say be human. Be human. Do the things that make you human. 613 means hug me. Get to know me. You're mishlucha. Get to know me. Right? And 8, we'll talk about more next time. Kabbalah is a tricky word. On one hand, it's difficult, but the key is it's difficult, but it's new. Very important. Kabbalah we sometimes take it as a dictator outside of us trying to influence me. That's like the math teacher telling a creative kid to be a math student. Kabbalah is the therapist coming in and telling the creative kid, don't be in that classroom, and the kid is kicking and saying, no, I want to stay here, my friends are here. No, I want to stay here, my friends are here. Kabbalah listen to me, I'm helping you. I'm trying to help you become who you are. Let go of that classroom. Get out of there. You don't belong there. It's a very big difference. It's a huge difference. One of them is a dictator, abusive, and one of them is helping you. Kabbalah is essentially saying, accept the fact that I want to help you. You're kicking because you're in the wrong place, not because you're in the right place. So let's sum up what we learned today and put it in a nutshell. Today what we did is a differentiation between this week's discussion and last week's discussion. Last week we talked about the non-Jewish Emunah. Non-Jewish Emunah is a behavior. It's decisions people make. I can make a decision to be in a pit and follow someone blindly. Okay. You want to do that? Go ahead and do that. You're blind. You decide to be blind. I like to have color in my life and understand and feel and know at least that I could feel, and that this is my kind of thing. That's not Emunah. I can make a decision to enjoy things and to have knowledge about. I can trust the doctor. That's good. That's a decision you make. Comes along the Eibishter and tells Avraham, you are no longer one of those people that made a decision to have to do with me. A decision means to say you can make a decision not to do with me. And it could go back and forth, and I can, no. I'm doing something irreversible. I'm changing your nature. I'm changing your identity. You are no longer a human. You are now a creator. I'm putting something in you. You're going to get to know me. You're going to suddenly have these crazy wants. You're going to suddenly have certain desires. Everyone around you will say you're different, and they're going to point to you that you're different because you are going to be different with it. And this, just to make this a little bit tangible, the Gashmis, you see this. Goyim come to you and say, I had a German banker that once told me, he says, why aren't the Jews relied upon the nations they should be? They're Goyim, German. The Goyim say that. The Christians say that to the Jews. And the Jews themselves, specifically Jews, are the ones saying, why are we making ourselves different? Why can't we just fit in? It's beautiful. You see the Gashmis. The Jews always are the ones saying, let's fit in. And the Goyim are the ones saying, no, you guys are different. It's just like the master and the man that created in the classroom. Creative kid is like, I want to fit in. And the master says, you got this weird creative outburst. You're just something different. I can't eat this piece of cake. I don't know who you are, but you're just different. Plays out. Another area where you see it is Milah. Mamash see this. Why would someone think a bloody Milah should be a way to relate to Eibishter? It's like candles. Jump up and down and meditate on top of a mountain, Mount Everest, and hit the sky. Meditate. That's what Goyim do. That's how they connect to Eibishter. Who would think that Milah would connect? But 90% of Yidden are not from, have a gravitation when they do it, and it doesn't make sense. There's no way it makes sense. If they want to do already a mitzvah, do Shabbos, can't they? Do sing Shalom Aleichem.
They're doing it like in the hospital where it's becoming now very normal. Like a lot of Americans not doing it.
How many Americans? How many Americans today have a brit milah? Goyim. How many? It's common, but how many Americans go ahead and have a natural I wanted to 8 days, and I want to do it. They have it, and I want it. Where did it come from? Why do I have Nochmer? If I want to really do a mitzvah, there's many other mitzvahs that are less gross and painful, and not naturally. Naturally, you should not want to do it. Mother, a parent, why do I have to put pain? Why? And it's not spiritual. Why? It's not. Song is spiritual. Meditation is spiritual. This is like why? What do I have here? Because it's simply a brit. 86 said this is a brit milah. This is a brit. The connection to Eibishter and Yid comes through here. That's what he likes. A woman likes flowers. Maybe doesn't get the drum. And this is what Eibishter likes. And we have it in ourselves. So we just gravitate there. There are ways we can stop that. So I'm going to get to that next time. How we can feel it more or how we feel it less. Because now what we said is you have a different identity. But the question in my mind is, so why don't I feel less? And what makes me feel it more? What makes me feel it less? We'll get into that. There's different letters. There's different mitzvahs that make you certain things you eat make you feel things less or more. There's actually two mitzvahs that are more prevalent than mitzvahs that are less. And kashrus make you feel more or less. I'll just finish off today. Now, there's a letter of the Rebbe that writes, the reason why the communists came about. Jewish communists has to do with how the Paras Mishpach of the parents. So you have Emunah related to certain, and we'll get to the next time. Which mitzvahs are related, how that plays out in the consciousness mode of a person. But the first thing is to identify where the difference is. The difference is in the subconsciousness. The difference is in identity. The difference is not in my decisions. I can't help it. I'm different. Once we realize we're just different, then instead of fighting it, we try to work with it. That's a different story. And that's what we'll talk about next time.
Thank you. That's
Confusion. Golos is confusion. We're in a different classroom. We're in a tough classroom. Clear? Yeah? Okay, thank you. No, it's not the dictator. It's the therapist. It's the therapist. But the child is just like a dictator. It's really a therapist. A dictator means I'm trying to make like the math teacher trying to tell you to be a math when you really get creative. So I'm different. Therapist, I'm trying to help you be what you really should be. Embrace it. Come, I'm helping you. I'm not coming to fight you. And then when I do that, I'm opening myself up to becoming more who I am rather than something I'm not. Different part. Yeah, but he had a choice. He could have said, I don't believe in Eibishter, and then he wouldn't go there. Nimmer told me, you believe in Eibishter, I'm going to throw you in. He could have told Nimmer, you know what, forget it, I'm becoming part of your team, Yichlaz up, I'm a happy follower of you. No, it was my minatosov. Okay, Goyim can do the same thing though. Doctors that make decisions that can endanger themselves, Goyim go on suicide. That's not a Mitzvah Nefesh. Mitzvah Nefesh just means, I can't resist. This is who I am. You just simply can't resist. And we'll talk more next week. Why, if I can't resist, why don't I do omnis? Why only certain this? How do I make that feeling intensify on the day-to-day? I want to do omnis and can't resist. Not only weirdest, so we'll talk next week how that plays out in the conscious mode. How do I make that more? How do I make that Emunah mechazik that Emunah? So I know I'm different. So how come I don't feel it today and tomorrow and the next day? How come only in Kippur I feel it and only for the Bris Milah I feel it? I have symptoms. So how do I develop that art more? That's going to be the next discussion.
Yeah, but I always believe that I haven't understood because Avraham was married by Hashem. He was the one who sensed and realized and told that there is a creator, right? The Lo Hashem, yes, the Lo Yareh.
אבל זה לא היה אמונה יהודית. It wasn't a Yiddish אמונה. Yeah.
But then the word of sense was that the thing was not the Yiddish.
The emuna that a goy is minor. A goy is minor in the Yiddish. Wasn't it a goy minor in the Yiddish? Wasn't it a goy in the Yiddish? A goy also believes in the Yiddish. A goy believes in the Yiddish, but a Yid is. It doesn't believe outside. A Yid has in him, the connection of a Yid to the Eibishter is not one that I have to push myself. I have to make a decision to become close to the Eibishter. A Yid has in him a different nature. The word is nature. That Avraham didn't have before Lech Lecha.
I still don't see, but Avraham jumped into this. I accepted to go into it. Because he believed in Hashem.
So let's put it this way.
How could he believe that?
So let me play. So I'll play it out this way. Imagine two kids. Yeah, one kid is a math kid, but he appreciates art. He says, "Oh, art people are very nice people. They're beautiful people, and I'm going to protect them. And I'm actually protect them, and I'm going to do whatever I can to help them out." Is he an artist? No, but he believes in it. He helps them. He's nice. He believes it. But what? He has a good understanding. He has an understanding that's important. He furthers their goals. But did he become art? Believing in the Eibishter for a goy, you need to say he knows the creator to the world. And we'll see the function of a goy and a Yid is also going to be more necessary. There's a creator to the world. A Yid feels that creator.
Right. Okay. Here, we said the word.
A Yid feels that creator. A goy believes that creator. He made me, I'm the one, and he made me. He made horses, he made plants, and he made humans. And humans know that there has to be a reason, started from somewhere, and there's a purpose in the world. A Yid feels the Eibishter.